That's a disappointment that lawmakers have chosen to not only not discuss and vote in public, but a very experienced, educated, dynamic Native leader was not accepted by our Senate Democrats. Joe Nelson, very qualified, fine candidate. That was a disappointment. So the letter that was just brought to my attention by the Senate President just says, please bring us another name. Doesn't mention any list, doesn't mention any recommendations, just bring us another name. So we'll discuss that and see where we go from there.
Are you willing to talk to your Democratic leaders?
Again, I have already, and explained to them that, you know, the disappointment from the get-go, of course, was that they did not provide a list of names for us to choose from, just one name. So we went out and solicited the interested persons to the seat, did our interviews, did our vetting, and that took 20-some days to do that. When we found the candidate that we believed would best serve this area, in Mr. Grusendorf forwarded that name, and they said no, then in speaking with those Democrat leaders, we explained to them that we had another person in mind, forwarded Joe Nelson's name, and we are where we are today.
Are you willing to reconsider their list?
I don't know if a couple of things on that. I don't know how interested, to tell you the truth, even those on their list are in this seat. They weren't on their original list. They weren't applicants when we asked for public members to come forward showing interest. And, you know, we had quite a number of Juneau residents who did come forward saying they wanted to be considered. So those three new persons, we haven't even interviewed them. And again, the list that, or the letter that was presented to me this morning didn't mention anything about the recommendations of those three on that second list.
What's wrong with appointing somebody who maybe doesn't intend to run for re-election? Doesn't that just actually give Juneau voters a chance?
Oh, absolutely. That's not my criteria at all for me in a selection process. It's a free-for-all. It's a good, healthy competition that I look forward to in this part of Alaska in a year and a half when the seat is up for that regular election. Whether somebody intends to run or not is part of the criteria.
Is Medford Juneau just out for you?
Nobody is just out. You know, again, with this latest round of rejection of a very qualified, experienced, educated young leader in this part of Alaska, it makes it tougher to figure out what it is that they are looking for, except for one individual that they came to us with at the very beginning. If their heels are really dug in and they say it can only be that one person, then that makes this process a little bit more difficult, because we would like, again, to consider all those who are truly interested in the seat. We'll go through another round, if we must, of interviews and vetting, and it's unfortunate, though, for this district to be without representation, and that's why we've asked them to you know, publicly discuss this, follow the law there, and make their decision. They made their decision today, but it wasn't in public.
Can I talk about Winnie and Ross? He's made statements such as he's called gays degenerates, immoral. Are those things that you agree with?
I don't agree with probably many things that he has done or said over all these years. In his 35 years of practicing law, he probably doesn't agree with a lot of things that I have done in my professional life either over all these years. We're never going to find anybody who we 100% agree with. And I don't know if the statements that are being attributed to him, if all of them are true or not. You guys see how things work in politics and in the media too. There's a lot of false accusations out there.
Did you not check to see if those kind of highly inflammatory statements were not true?
And I'm very comfortable with Wayne Anthony Ross serving the state of Alaska as Attorney General. That's why I brought his name forward.
So do you know whether or not he made the statements that were attributed to him?
As I say, I don't agree with all of the statements that perhaps he has made over the last 35 years practicing law, but I am comfortable with him as my nominee for AG, and I hope that the lawmakers, and I anticipate that the lawmakers will say yes to him serving Alaska.
Now is that the statement attributed to him or true? Is that, please put in the question.
She's answered you, Bob. She's on it. We have a limited amount of time, Bob. Go ahead,
Well,
read it on.
you should answer it sooner. The question
Well, thoughts on the capital budget as released by the Senate, in particular where it has not as much funding as you had requested for some of the roadwork projects.
Well, we do have about $37 million in priority projects for infrastructure that will help build our gas line. The Dalton Highway improvements, some aimed dollars that we need for the in-state gas line planning. Those are important priorities for us, and we would like to see that $37 million put back in the budget, but we're willing to back out then another $37 million or more of projects that aren't as high a priority. The infrastructure dollars that have to do with energy are really Alaska's lifeline to revenue in the future that will help pay for everything else that this state needs. So those are priorities. But overall, there with the Senate coming back saying we've taken some of your projects out and we're not putting any of our own in, I'm saying right on, good. This is what we want to see also. You know, the first 2 years, lawmakers not happy with me at the end of the day having to veto so many projects because we were spending too much money. This go around, sounds like we're working together on scaling down that scope and size of a budget. I appreciate their efforts there, and in speaking with them yesterday and the day before with House and Senate leadership, I've offered to sit down with them and take out even more projects. This deficit spending that the state is in, this is not a comfortable place for Alaska to be.
Have they left you enough discretion in deciding what comes out at the end?
Well, I believe so. It's a work in progress, of course, and we'll continue to speak with them. But even this morning, we identifying projects that we want to offer, if you will, to them to back out of the budget in order to get those high priorities put back in. We'll be talking to them about that. In fact, I think here this afternoon even you'll be speaking with Senator Stedman on those specific projects.
Governor, they said they took out about $514 million that you had requested, which is a lot. And you just mentioned $37 million for the gas line. Are you okay then with the rest of it staying out?
Yeah, because the goal at the end of the day will be reached, where we have a smaller draw to our savings accounts. I don't want to spend as much money as the state had been spending in the past. That's the bottom line. So they working with us to scale back even our own requests from departments and agencies. We want to work with them on that. I am comfortable with that.
Don't think that you're working with them.
Pardon?
The legislators don't really think that you're working with them. They've had a lot of expressions of unhappiness with your commissioners, department heads not being able to give your positions on things.
Well, it's tough to judge someone's happiness quotient here in the Capitol building, but we have a very good working relationship as far as we know with lawmakers. Our door is always open. We meet with them every single day. We're meeting with lawmakers. We've had a couple of very good discussions in the last 2 days with lawmakers on what the big picture is here for Alaska. We want to slow down the rate of growth of government. We're in deficit spending mode right now, and we don't like it. Administration doesn't. Lawmakers don't like it. So we can work together on making sure that that draw on savings account is as small as possible, and we have a good relationship with them as far as I'm concerned.
The legislature is looking to accept all of the stimulus money. How much of that are you willing to take on?
Well, nothing has changed in my mind in terms of what the stimulus package will do to our nation and will do to our state. It grows the national debt, and it forces the state to be in this deficit spending mode, and I don't like that. I think that the worst thing that a governor can do is be part of this problem of growing national debt and not doing all that they can to eliminate that problem. But having said that, understanding reality, our lawmakers have both bodies have gone around me to resolve to accept the stimulus package dollars anyway. So we deal in reality. As long as they have resolved via the resolution